Hello, good evening. This is the escrow lady, and our discussion for tonight is FRIPTA, withholdings. And I'll talk a little bit about what FRIPTA actually is. The disposition of U.S. real property interests by a foreign person is subject to FRIPTA, which is the Foreign Investment in Real Property Tax Act of 1980. It's an income tax withholding. FRIPTA authorized the United States to tax foreign persons on deposition of U.S. real property interests. The word deposition means for any purpose of the Internal Revenue Code. This includes, but is not limited to, the sale or exchange, liquidation, redemption, gifts, transfers, and persons purchasing U.S. real property interests from a foreign person. Certain purchasers, agents, and settlement officers are required to hold 15%. Now, it used to be 10% for dispositions that were before February 17th of 2016. So, in most cases, the buyer is a withholding agent. And if you're a transfer buyer, you must find out if the transfer is a foreign person. Well, in escrow, the escrow holder acts as that withholding agent, probably about 95% of the time. If the transfer is a foreign person and you fail to withhold, you may be held liable for that tax. For cases in which the U.S. business entity is a corporation or partnership and they dispose of U.S. real property interests, the business entity itself is a withholding agent. So, we talked about the rate of withholding. We spoke about what FRIPTA stands for. It's the Foreign Investment in Real Estate Property Tax Act. And it came into play in 1980. So, what does this have to do all with escrow? We have foreigners, investors who purchase real property here that may not be residents of the United States. And so in that case, we have to be very careful with making sure that we also check to see whether or not if they're foreign investors, and that we double check the Social Security numbers or TINs or whatever it is that they have that they're filing taxes here in the state. And so what I have noticed over the years, the normal form of FRIPTA, and I'll make this part of my presentation when I go back and we'll pull it up for you. But the regular form of FRIPTA, the escrow holder will take that form and just have the seller fill that form out. It normally stays in our escrow folder. Years ago, actually before February 16th of 2016, when there was a rate increase of that rate that we're charging, we used to just block out the Social Security number and provide the document, a copy of the document to the buyer. But in this case, there's a new form that's called the Qualified Substitute Form. And I really want to talk about this form tonight because a lot of people do not understand the purpose of the form. I've had several real estate agents only request it because their office is requesting it, their transaction coordinators are requesting it, but they don't really know what the form means. On the form, the escrow holder becomes the qualified substitute. And basically what we're declaring when we actually sign that form is that we have received a FRIPTA form certificate from the seller and it's complete, and that we have also verified that the seller is not a non-foreign person. If so, then we'd actually have to withhold the 15%. So the qualified substitute form is just a signature of the escrow holder and the basic property information, It's a real estate form. It's a BRE form that we fill out, and we give this in place of giving the FRIPTA certificate. And the reason why is because on the FRIPTA certificate, we have very sensitive information on there from the seller, their social security numbers. And so we want to protect that information as much as possible. And so when anyone's talking about a qualified substitute, they're talking about the qualified substitute form, which the escrow holder actually signs, and then the buyer signs that they've acknowledged and they actually know that the escrow holder does have the certificate in escrow in their file folder, and that they've also verified that the seller is not a non-foreign alien. So that's all about qualified substitute and FRIPTAs for today. And once again, that rate used to be 10%, and it is now, if the person is a foreigner, we're required to hold 15%. And that was, a lot of people don't know that actually came into law February 16th, 2016. So we'll talk more about FRIPTA